Let me take you back to a specific moment. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I was sitting in a small conference room for other people around the table, and someone turned to me and asked a simple question. So, what do you think? And I opened my mouth, and nothing came out. Not because I didn't have an opinion. I had a very strong opinion. But somewhere between my brain and my mouth, the English just collapsed. I said something like, I think, yes, this is, it can be good, but also. And then I stopped and smiled and looked at the table. Everyone moved on. The meeting continued. But I sat there for the next 20 minutes, not hearing a single word, just replaying that moment. That horrible, silent, freezing moment. If you've ever felt that gap between what you know and what you can actually say, then stay with me, because this story ends somewhere very different. Here's what I didn't understand back then. I had studied English seriously. I'd passed tests. I'd read novels in English, watched films without subtitles, and understood complex conversations. By every traditional measure, my English was good. But good English and fluent English are two completely different animals. Think of it this way. Imagine you've studied swimming by reading books about swimming. You know the theory of every stroke. You understand the biomechanics. You could pass a written exam about swimming with a perfect score. And then someone throws you in the water. That was me, in that conference room, drowning in 3 feet of water. The knowledge was there. The ability to use it in real time under pressure, with people watching, that was gone. A few weeks after that meeting, I was sitting in my apartment, genuinely frustrated, when I had a thought. What if the problem isn't what I know, but how little I actually practice producing English? I read in English every day. I listened to English every day. But when was the last time I actually spoke English? Just spoken? Not in a class. Not at work. Not to impress anyone. Just using my voice? I couldn't remember. So I made a deal with myself. 30 days. Every single day, I would speak English out loud for at least 10 minutes, and I would record it on my phone. No audience. No pressure. Just me, a microphone, and honesty. I pressed record for the first time on a cold Monday morning. What came out was not pretty. I'd given myself a topic. Talk about a decision you regret. Simple enough, right? I started speaking. Within 90 seconds, I'd said so many times I lost count. I repeated the same word 3 times in a single sentence. I started a sentence, forgot where it was going, and just let it die. But here's what was interesting. When I listened back that evening, I didn't hear a bad English speaker. I heard someone who knew what they wanted to say but kept running out of road before they got there. I wasn't missing vocabulary. I was missing the bridges, the connectors, the little words that take you from one idea to the next, words like, which means, and that's why, even though. What surprised me was, those tiny words are the difference between speaking and flowing. And I had never once practiced them out loud in real time. That was day 1's lesson. And I hadn't even tried anything yet. Days 2 through 7 were uncomfortable in a way I didn't expect. Not because of the English, because of the honesty. When you speak out loud and record yourself, you can't lie to yourself anymore. You can't finish a sentence in your head and tell yourself it sounded fine. You hear every pause, every wrong word, every moment you gave up and chose the easier, smaller word instead of the one you actually meant. By day 4, I almost quit. I remember sitting on my bed, listening to that day's recording, thinking, this is embarrassing. I sound like someone pretending to speak English. But then I thought about that conference room, that silent, frozen moment, and I pressed record again. I was making coffee on day 10, not recording, not practicing, just making coffee. And I caught myself thinking, I should have bought the darker roast. This one is too mild. Actually, no, mild is fine in the morning. Strong coffee later in the day makes more sense for me. In English. Without trying. Without translating. It just happened. I stood there holding my coffee cup like I'd just witnessed something miraculous. Because in a small way I had. My brain had quietly, without any announcement, switched its default language for internal thought. That's the shift everyone talks about, but nobody can tell you exactly when it happens. It's not a technique. It's not a method. It's a threshold your brain crosses after enough repetition, and suddenly, English stops being a subject you study and starts being a tool you use. Around day 15, I noticed something that genuinely puzzled me. My vocabulary wasn't the problem. My grammar wasn't the problem either. The problem was rhythm. I was speaking in a flat, even tone, like someone reading a grocery list. Every sentence the same speed, the same weight. And real spoken English doesn't work like that. It has music. Certain words get stretched. Certain phrases get clipped. There are tiny pauses that tell the listener something important is coming. So I tried something strange. I'd find a 60-second clip of someone I found compelling, a storyteller, an interviewer, a comedian, and I'd just listen to the rhythm. Not the words. The rhythm. Like listening to a song before you learn the lyrics. Then I'd immediately start recording myself and try to carry that rhythm forward into my own words. It felt ridiculous. For about 2 days. And then it started working. Unexpected video call. A new client. Someone I'd never spoken to before. The call lasted 22 minutes. At one point, I disagreed with something she said. And instead of nodding and staying quiet, which is what I would have done a month earlier, I said, I actually see that differently, and here's why. And I explained my position. Clearly, calmly, without searching for words, without apologizing. After the call, she sent a message, great talking to you. Your English is really natural. I read that message 3 times, not because of the compliment, because of what it meant. Natural, not correct, not impressive. Natural. That's fluency. That's what 30 days of talking to a phone recorder had built. Here's the honest truth. You don't need 30 perfect days. You just need to start. Pick something personal, a memory, a regret, a dream, an opinion you hold strongly. Something with emotion in it. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Press record. Don't perform. Don't prepare. Just talk. Listen back that same night. Notice not how bad it sounds. Notice where you stop. That's your map. Then do it again tomorrow. The conference room will come again. The moment when someone turns to you and asks what you think. This time, you'll be ready.